I was going to make this one a no talking video, but these veggies taste a little horrendous, so I cannot finish the entire thing. Sorry. See why this was 50% off, because the carrots are mushy. And I don't really like this dip. My filter is called Pure. And no sponsorship here. I got it off of Amazon for like $30. So every 2 months I have to get those filter things. I have to replace that part. It's also a lead filter, and it's like $10 every 2 months. So hey, you know what time it is. It's that time in the video when we focus on getting better and better every day in every way with the help of this How to Develop a Winning Personality book. How to develop a winning personality. See, it's things like this, in my opinion, that should be taught more and emphasized in schools and education. The people skills, because that really determines the quality of life more than our ability to memorize all kinds of useless stuff that we're never gonna come in contact with anyway. So we're on the chapter called Give Yourself Away, Give Yourself Away. Fulfillment is there for the taking if only we understand it. If there is a wrong you would like to see righted, if there is a hurt that you can heal, if there is a truth you think the world should know, don't just stand there. Do something. The moment you start, you will feel yourself spiritually, emotionally, and mentally enriched, and when you become so wrapped up in the cause that you are actually giving yourself to it, fulfillment will be yours. As a man fulfilled is a man whole, and a whole man radiates his completeness. His personality glows. His presence is meaningful. It must be so. Else, why would the urge to fulfillment be so dominant? A very nice sermon, I can hear you saying. Very inspiring, but frankly, I didn't come here to be preached to or to be inspired. I came for some practical advice. What do you want me to do? Go out with my sword and kill dragons or preying on beautiful princesses? Shall I take my $75 a week and feed all the poor people? Shall I stride into City Hall and tell the elected officials that they had better do their duty and give us clean government, or else? You see what I mean? I don't have any or else. I'm just one person. The world has been here for a long time, and all these hurts and injustices you are talking about have very deep roots. My arms aren't strong enough to pull the roots out. Right, you are. Fortunately for you, we have already agreed that we are neither saints nor geniuses, so nobody expects us to give away our $75 a week or to cure the ills of the world all by ourselves, or to pull out the deep roots without help. But think, if you got 75 people to give away $1 a week, that they hadn't been giving away, the good would be as great as though you yourself had given all the money. And if you got a man with a truck to tie a rope to the roots and to the truck, all he would have to do is step on the gas, and up would come the roots. No, not having any or else, or not being strong enough to pull up the roots all by yourself is not a problem. What would be a problem would be to find something worth doing in the world that you would have to do all by yourself, or even something that you would be permitted to do all by yourself, smart as you may be. The chances are that you could not think of a reasonably important cause or crusade that someone else had not already thought of and done something about, despite the fact that there are so many people who go along from one day to the next without ever giving a thought to anything but their own personal satisfactions. There are still enough people who dare persist, sacrifice, and love enough to do something about it, to cause such a proliferation of organizations dedicated to good works that choosing one or several in which to enlist poses far greater difficulty than finding them. Name a disease that afflicts its eradication. Think of a religion. There's an organization, sometimes many organizations, concerned with the welfare of its more unfortunate members. Conjure up an ideology and educational problem of public need. There are organizations galore working on them. Problems of age, of youth, of crime, of poverty, of economics, of traffic, of air pollution, of food purity, of cruelty to animals or children, of domestic and conjugal life, of slums, of addiction to drugs or alcohol, of mental adjustment, of public safety, of war and peace, of labor, of management, and hundreds more. All are being examined, explored, analyzed, and coped with by groups and organizations composed of dedicated men and women who are finding fulfillment as an unexpected byproduct of their willingness to do something about it. As for you, there's no harm or discredit to you if you consciously seek fulfillment in this manner, provided only that you don't expect it to come out of participation in a cause or a crusade in which you have no strong emotional involvement. To be fulfilled, you have to do something your heart, not your mind, tells you to do. Having myself been involved emotionally and professionally in a number of causes, I am familiar with literally scores of cases in which persons who before their own involvement in these causes were living unsatisfactory, empty, and boring lives. Persons who were unknown, unsung, and unloved beyond their own immediate circle of friends and relatives, and who suddenly found new zest, recognition, satisfaction, joy, insight, and often, believe it or not, career advancement after their involvement. Here we can observe only a few of them, but these will be sufficient to tell the whole story and point the way for you. First comes Mr. Herbert Conover, a self-made businessman. After Mr. Conover had finished the job of making himself, he discovered to his great surprise and disappointment that he had done a pretty poor job of it. He had a good thriving business, plenty of money, an attractive wife, and 2 bright sons in college. Moreover, he had his health intact. What more could he ask of life? He asked one thing: acceptance of himself. Without it, he found little satisfaction in anything else. You see, he had given himself, and while he was giving himself, his life was zestful, and he had no self-doubt so completely to the cause of making himself a successful businessman that he had had no time for any other form of character or personality development. He had read no books, listened to no music, failed to keep up with the cross currents of contemporary history beyond those of commerce and the stock market, and acquired no social grace. When his job was done and he no longer had to give himself to it, he was lost in a strange world that nodded politely when he passed by, but did not take him to its bosom. His wife loved him, but while he had been busy giving himself to himself, she had passed him by. In his frequent absences on business, she had been compelled to occupy her time with matters in which he had had no part. She had taken courses in appreciation of art and literature. She had become active in a charitable organization and in civic work. She had read voraciously, and she had made many friends with whom she engaged regularly in sparkling conversation. Now they had little in common except routine family problems. His sons loved him too. They were college men, and he and they spoke no common language. His business associates were ready to talk business with him, but after 30 years of business talk, he had had enough. Business talk bored him, and there was nothing else he could talk about. He toyed with the idea of going to night school, but he did not go. He tried concerts, but they had no meaning for him. He opened a book or two, but closed them as quickly as he had opened them. He was lost and miserable. Now he accompanied his wife to parties, but while she chattered with her friends, he sat silent and glum. He did not even know what they were talking about. He was not a stupid man, just an incomplete one. There seemed to be nothing he really wanted to do. All of his efforts to improve himself failed because You have no idea, she said, how that little girl's parents suffer, how lucky we are to have such healthy and well-adjusted children. Isn't there anything they can do, he said. His compassion aroused. Do they need to help to pay for doctors? I'll be glad to do something for them. No, said his wife. They have enough money. The doctors just don't seem to be able to do anything. The remark made him bristle. As a self-made businessman, he had not been tolerant of failure. His motto had been, you can do anything if you really want to and if you try hard enough. He pondered for a moment, then said, that's nonsense. There ought to be a way to lick that sickness. They've licked tougher ones. I've got a good mind to. To what? Asked the wife. To take a big chunk of money and finance a few doctors to do some research, a cash program. I'll bet if they had nothing to do but that, they would come up with something. Mrs. Conover smiled. They already have a cash program, she said. There's an organization that does nothing but raise money for research in behalf of mentally retarded children. They are making progress, but they haven't solved the problem yet. For one thing, they don't have enough money. You might give them a contribution. The next day, Mr. Conover visited the offices of the organization and contributed $1,000 to its work. In talking to the professional staff member who received his check, he learned that they were short not only of funds but manpower, particularly manpower of leadership caliber. He found himself growing angry. The staff member showed him pictures of retarded children and told him a very few sad tales about some of them. How can anyone refuse to help these kids? He demanded. The staff worker looked at him squarely. We're very grateful for your donation, Mr. Conover, he said, but in all fairness, this work has been going on for some time now, and this is your first offer to help. Well, said Mr. Conover defensively, I never knew about it before. We do a great deal of publicity, said the staff member, but I guess a lot of people are too busy to read it. There are many who don't know about our work. Mr. Conover was now emotionally involved. I promise you one thing, he said, everybody I know will hear about it very soon, and what's more, I'll get money out of them. I'd like to see anyone turn me down in a thing like this. That very day, he set about visiting his business acquaintances and telling the story of the retarded children. He obtained a number of contributions and brought them back to the office of the organization with a greater sense of satisfaction than he had felt in many months. He did it again the next day and the next. His efforts attracted the attention of the executive director of the organization, who introduced him to several of the volunteer officers, most of whom were businessmen like himself or members of the professions. Before he left them, he had accepted the title of campaign chairman of the industry, in which he had made his success with the task of organizing the industry in a drive for funds for mentally retarded children. He carried his responsibility forward with such vigor and dedication that at year's end the total of contributions in this division was proportionately greater than that of any other industrial group in his city. He was then promoted to the chairmanship of industries, which, with a responsibility for leadership enrollment and campaign results on an inter-industry basis. The more he worked, the more he loved the work. Progress was being made and children were being helped in a way that at one time would have been impossible. The knowledge that this was partly due to his own labors gave him deep and abiding satisfaction. All this would have been enough for Mr. Conover even without the acceptance he had yearned for, but something else was happening. As organizations do, this organization publicized his campaign achievements in the newspapers and on radio and television. He became identified in the minds of many people, even people he did not know, as a benefactor of children. When he visited an office to ask for a contribution, he often found resistance, but he always found respect and admiration. His neighbors, who had earlier nodded and walked swiftly by when they saw him, now sought the privilege of shaking his hand and having him at their homes as a guest. His wife was proud of him and listened endlessly to his recital of campaign problems and achievements. His children began to see him not only with love but with admiration. When a man is doing good in the world is satisfied with him and accepts him as a valued member of society, even if he cannot read or write, even if he is dull at a party, even if music and art are Greek to him. Well, what an inspiring story, right? I'm gonna stop here because they start with another case, and I'll leave that for another time. Hey, put your heart into it. Give yourself away. That's when we're at our best. When we're living with zest and joy and vigor and energy and passion and the light, right? Always say, you gotta love what you do. You gotta love what you do. Love what you do. Hey, if you like what